Thank you, Sven. Chapter 6. The Artist and the Cowboy Again. I haven't met this bartender girl before, not surprisingly. Perhaps it was only my third evening in Tokyo. A mixed-race girl with an Australian accent and, gosh, nearly a head taller than me. At any other time, I wouldn't think twice before trying my best to ask her out. But right now, I didn't care about female heights any longer. First, I had somehow got used to being surrounded by young beauties of 6 feet 2 inches and more. Second, and most important, I'd just met a girl who was incomparable to anybody else. So I only noted her height automatically. There was another problem, however. She didn't have a clue what a White Russian was. I wasn't a big deal of a help either, so I had to ask Bretta. And she, instead of passing the recipe through me, chose to come up to the bar in person. As she approached, the Oss's eyebrows rose up and up. I thought, in a second or two, they would unfasten from her pretty face completely, but, fortunately for her, Bretta had reached the bar, and her movement terminated. By that time, the bartender had already utterly forgotten about the order. She jumped out and rushed to the Swede. And then it became apparent there must have been a high platform behind the bar. The girl instantly shrank and turned out to be shorter than even my humble self. Even myself? How about that? Since when have I started to consider myself short? Now, though, I began to get used to being one. I should get rid of this complex, I thought. I'm of average height. Well, about average anyway. I don't know what the bartender was thinking at that instant. I just saw she was as amazed by Bretta's height as everyone else, and eager to stand closer and compare herself with the blonde. Excuse me, miss. She now stood right in front of Bretta, staring way up at her. I've met a Polish girl who plays basketball and stands 7 feet 2, but you're definitely taller. Much taller. In fact, you're the tallest person I've ever met. What a surprise. Again, Bretta didn't seem to be bothered at all. Do you want a picture with me? Or just know my height? If you don't mind. No, I don't. I'm about 7 feet and 11 inches. Oh my, the bartender's sexy lips formed a perfect O. May I lean against you to comprehend just how tall you really are? This is something else, I thought. Bretta, however, reacted in her usual philosophical manner. Only if you promise to behave and mix me the cocktail afterwards. The Aussie smiled and gently hugged her hips. Impossible. I'm up to your waistline, she proclaimed. Not exactly, I'm in heels, was the answer. Me too, she showed her 3-inch mules. Unbelievable. Satisfied, smiled down Bretta. Can I get my White Russian now? Definitely, Lisa had reappeared unnoticed again. At your disposal. What's going on here? As Bretta gave instructions to the bartender with her ever-so gentle smile, I briefed Lisa with the latest developments. Ah, all right then, she laughed. Nothing unusual. We grabbed our drinks and returned to the table at last. I was looking forward to enjoying the company of Bretta, hoping at the same time that I wouldn't disappoint her either, when a bearded European man with a bright, red and yellow scarf wrapped around his neck approached our table. He had a large sheet of paper rolled in his hand. I hate to interrupt your conversation, my friends, but I do hope you will take at least some interest in my painting, and he unrolled the paper. It was a watercolor portrait, the sort of fast-painted sketches which can be seen in pedestrian areas of every big city on Earth. What was unusual there is that the picture didn't feature a tourist's face, but bodies. 3 of them, actually. He caught them well. I recognized us instantly. It was hard not to. I saw myself sandwiched between 2 towers. The image just blew my mind. I knew I was the shortest of the gang, but didn't have an opportunity yet to gaze at us in the mirror, so I didn't realize just how short I was next to them. In the picture, my head was lower than Lisa's shoulders, which I already knew, and at the level of Bretta's waist. It looked pathetic, but I liked it. It was my first experience looking at the 3 of us from the side. Oh, It's so cute, said Bretta. You're quick and sharp, added Lisa. The artist was touched. Thank you so much. You know, he paused, I would love to give it to you as a gift, but I have to sell my works for a living. Of course, we understand. How much is this masterpiece? Asked Bretta. With the discount I only give to the tallest and prettiest young ladies I have ever seen in my long life, it is going to be 10,000 yen. What a shame, claimed Bretta. I didn't have time yet to get to a cash machine. I don't have such a sum on me either, said the Russian girl. My turn. £60 was probably a bit too much for the picture, but I decided to show some generosity and chivalry. I will buy it, I said to the painter. And also, may I also ask you to make 2 more copies of your work, please? I'll pay extra for them, certainly. Very good, buy 2, get 1 free. All 3 will cost you 20,000 yen, the artist was excited. Would you like to meet me here later tonight, or shall I bring them into your room, if you don't mind telling me the number? After the delivery was arranged, Lisa presented me with one of her most promising looks and smiled. Look, Brett, I was right when I told you that Nick is much more of a man than our so-called partners, no matter how physically big they are. I suppose, she turned to me, you deserve a drink from the best half of our company. Half? Bretta chuckled. We're 2/3, at least. But, bearing in mind the difference in size, the 2 of us might rather be considered for 5ths. Ah, she's cool with the subject, I thought, she doesn't hesitate to bring it up herself, and this is great. We all laughed, then Lisa pulled a wallet from her bag, and they headed to the bar. As they stood up, the girls predictably grabbed all the attention on the terrace, including other customers' non-deliberate advances towards them, as well as virtual height comparisons made by some. Those people wouldn't say a word, but their facial expressions were speaking volumes. And, once again, I witnessed an amazing sight, Lisa's head clearly below her friend's shoulders, and in no circumstances would one call the Russian short. I already knew all that but couldn't help staring at them, quietly gasping. We didn't have plenty of time at our disposal, unfortunately, it was late afternoon already. So after a chat that was much too short for my liking, the girls put their glasses on the table and excused themselves, they had to get ready for the show scheduled for that night. Left alone, I dived into my thoughts, which were much brighter now than only hours ago. How lucky I was at the end of the day. How many chances did I have to miss that TV show and never see Ms. Sorensen there? How slim my chances were to get to the Ritz the other day. How on earth did I manage to win the lottery? And how, for Christ's sake, could Bretta's friend find me attractive and, therefore, make me acquainted so closely to the living dream of every tall woman lover? The girl who's like 3 heads taller than me. Thank you, my good luck, thank you for making me the one. And thank you, Herr Sven Eriksson, should it not be for your little romance, all these things would never have happened. I was still daydreaming when a familiar voice asked, May I? Todd, his eyes shining with envy and excitement. Hey, dude, how come all the pretty giantesses stick with YA? I don't know what sort of magician you are, but there's too much of them even for the strongest man in the world. Want a deal? I wasn't interested in any deals he could table, but I hadn't finished my cocktail yet and had some time to spare, so why not? I know the redhead is your chick, so why not introduce me to the blonde? She's kinda too tall even to my taste, but I'll handle it somehow. It could be interesting, actually, to have a chick's tits above your head, now? And, in turn, I'll invite the 3 of you to the most luxurious restaurant you'll find in this city. It will cost me a fortune, but after all, we only live once, right? What do you say? Do I look like a pimp to you, dude? If you like a girl, try and approach her yourself. I don't think you'll succeed though. I hoped, after my last sentence, he would just leave. He didn't. Why not? You know, the blonde doesn't like short boys like you and I. and she's engaged to a 6'7" man. But he's 2 heads shorter than her anyways, he wasn't convinced. What's the difference then? Well, I'll tell you what the difference is. Her fiancé is a heavyweight boxer, and really, I mean really jealous. Ah. I gotcha. He looked frustrated. He dragged himself to the bar, evidently, to help himself to another bourbon. Having gotten rid of the sticky chap, I went upstairs. I had an hour to take a shower and change for the show I was a guest of honor on. Thanks to the hotel staff that had washed and ironed all my clothes, it didn't take long. I liked the way I looked in a smart black suit, expensive tie, and shiny shoes. I stared through the mirror at a real gentleman in his 30s, of average height and better than average appearance. The average height. This is the point. As I gazed at my reflection, I couldn't believe that this average-sized man's eyes just minutes ago were at the level of a pretty woman's belly button. I stretched my right hand upwards, pretending to touch Bretta's shoulder. I wasn't sure it went high enough, so I rose on my tiptoes. No, it can't be true. It's just a dream. Or is it? Time to verify. The next chapter is 7. The Old Friend.